So yesterday marked the 56-year anniversary of when Tommie Smith and John Carlos made the Black Fist famous when they gave the salute during the Mexico City Olympics on October 16th, 1968. If you're listening to this in the future, today is October 17th, 2024, during the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. So as I was looking through pictures and footage, I noticed how we rarely hear about why they had their shoes off and some other stuff that was going on. And then it occurred to me that everything on that podium symbolized something. First, a quick recap. This was an intense year and time of political and social turmoil. The Vietnam War and the anti-war movement was in full swing. The civil rights movement was in full swing. In 63, you had Medgar Evers had been assassinated. In 65, Malcolm X assassinated. In April of 68, Dr. King assassinated. Then turn around in June, Robert Kennedy is assassinated. So the period leading up to the 1968 Olympics was punctuated by widespread unrest. Many Black athletes felt a deep sense of anger and frustration at the injustices they were facing every day, and many of them wanted to do something about it, even if it was as subtle as raising a fist. Although no words were spoken, the moment was full of meaning. Both athletes wore black gloves, no shoes, black socks. Smith wore a black scarf around his neck, and Carlos unzipped his tracksuit to reveal a necklace of beads. On the podium with them is Peter Norman, an Australian athlete. Even his presence has meaning. After Carlos and Smith solidified their plan, and before going up on a podium, they realized they only had one pair of black gloves. Take one each, Norman suggested, and Smith and Carlos took his advice, and that's why they are only wearing one glove apiece. Norman went on to tell them that he believed in what they were doing and if he could stand with them, because they told him, look, you ain't got to be up here if you don't want to. But Norman, he did his part, and he stayed up there. Now, Smith raised his right fist to represent Black power. Carlos raised his left fist to represent Black unity. Carlos also wore a beaded necklace to symbolize the lynchings of Black Americans, and his unzipped jacket paid homage to blue-collar workers. The scarf stood for Black pride, and the black socks with no shoes with the pants rolled up represented poverty in the Black community. Then finally, the box Tommie Smith is holding in his other hand had an olive tree sampling inside of. So everything had a meaning. Even the head, bowing the head, represented prayer or faith. The Black Power salute, as it came to be known, was a defiant statement against the systemic oppression of Black people in the U.S. and marked a defining moment in history. Although their use of it at the time did come at a great personal cost to the athletes involved. Within hours, they were condemned by the International Olympic Committee. 2 days later, they were suspended from the U.S. team and sent home, where they continued to face personal and professional problems. They had death threats. Even though Norman faced backlash, he was excluded from the Australian Olympic Committee. He was excluded from professional competitions. He faced depression, alcoholism, and addiction. He even died without acknowledgement in 2006. So they all suffered the persecution from this day. Tommie Smith and John Carlos's courageous stance further popularized the importance of Black power, and they are both still alive today. Smith is 80 years old and Carlos is 79 years old, and they are still raising their fists. Let's give these fellas their flowers while they can still smell them.